Guys, it's 1 a.m. You guys know this. This is how this works on my channel. I wake up, I watch Clone Wars, and then I review it for you guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new review for the Clone Wars final season, Season 7, Episode 3. This has been really much like just nostalgia for me, kind of coming back to review all these sorts of seasons, because like I've mentioned the last couple of weeks that I just never thought we would be getting this final season. Here we are, watching it all and really digesting it every single week, and it's just really puts a big smile on my face every single morning, and I'm excited to be talking about this with you guys. So if you guys love Clone Wars as well, make sure to comment down below and let me know what your guys' thoughts are of each episode. We're going to be going into full spoiler details, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, you have been warned. And again, if you guys are new here, hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you love Clone Wars content and if you love Star Wars. I talk about it all the time over on this channel, and I want to talk about it with you guys. So the best part about this is make sure to comment down below and let me know your thoughts once again. But seriously, Clone Wars, it's back. Another week of Clone Wars, and obviously this is very much a setup episode for the very last episode of the Bad Batch arc within the Clone Wars series. And I'm excited. Again, I've never seen the unfinished episodes that were put out, so I don't know where this is going, especially as where this episode had ended out at. I'm now intrigued to see where we go about, because this very much, like I mentioned, was a big setup episode for next week's episode, which is not a bad thing at all. It makes me still very much excited because there was a lot of good action-packed moments in this whole entire episode. And one of my easily favorite parts of this episode was the whole thing of when they were starting to work with the natives. And for me, the thing that I've mentioned about this Clone Wars whole season so far is that you can tell that this is easily the most money they've gotten to do a season yet. And you can tell from the animation standpoint to even how they sway the camera and a lot of the action sequences, which makes me really happy to see what they could possibly do with future Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, especially when it comes to an animated format. And I really hope they do continue to do more animated stuff within the Star Wars lore, because I think my favorite thing about Clone Wars is taking an arc, or just in general an era that very much in the movie side not many people are fans of, but many people love the actual era of it, just not the portrayal of it. And throughout this whole entire show, we've been able to kind of fall in love with it. And I've mentioned this last week. This is my favorite era of Star Wars that we've gotten inside the film so far, because we get to see an actual, we actually get to see the Jedi Order alive. We get to see, this actual concept of war coming to life with the Clone Wars. And this show very much hinged on making us care more about the clones, and this whole beginning arc really feels like something that George Lucas really fell in love with, and why he really wanted this show to be such a big fruition of the whole entire start of Star Wars. And I think this is perfectly the way to kind of get a segue back into Star Wars. And really, last week found out that Echo is still alive. And now in this episode, we're seeing how those kind of have tempered with him, what they've done to him, pretty much turning him into a total machine. It makes for an intense heroine escape, especially in the beginning of this episode as they're escaping or trying to escape the facility. There's still a lot of good action-packed scenes in the beginning of it. The Bad Batch is just trying to help Rex and Anakin. Again, really breaks my heart, because I know we're getting closer to that point of when Anakin turns to the dark side. And it's funny because in the movies, I never really cared about Anakin's portrayal and the way that it kind of goes about, even though I love Revenge of the Sith. I love what they're doing with Clone Wars and the way that they're just slowly building up to that, making you believe in that turn that makes even Revenge of the Sith more satisfying in that coverage. And man, it's just gets me goosebumps leading up to there. But again, this episode never really had any key character moments to it. It had a lot of action-packed stuff. And again, really laying out the groundwork for what the next episode seems to be about. They're getting off the planet by the end of the episode. They're kind of moving in, because in a sense, this whole episode is, we saved Echo in the last one. We're escaping off this whole sort of facility. Some cool little droids pop up here and there. Even that little ball with all the electricity, that was really cool. And I like the animation and that whole entire design of the room. But of course, Wrecker had blown it all up. Thank God. They get out, they escape. That was a really nice shot of them as well, walking on the line, and then calling the I don't remember what the bird things are called, but they jumped on their backs, flew off, go to the natives. Natives agree to work for them. They start having a great little war, right there, and I really much enjoy that. But again, the way the camera swings around is quite astonishing, and I really love what they've been able to do. And I can't wait to see how the Ahsoka and Darth Maul fight scenes are going to be really much framed throughout this whole entire season. It's going to be quite amazing. But they win the war. The droids retreat. They let their masters know, and they say that they're going to go into plan kind of B. And as this episode ends, they're getting on the ship, and Echo kind of leaves to a very disturbing image on the very last shot of this. He kind of says something a little bit sinister on that fact, and you're sitting there going, yeah, Echo is not all there. And for me, again, I have not seen the unfinished episodes. I don't know if this is actually out there in the world, what happens. If it is, that's cool. I'm glad that some of you guys know some of these things have been changed. I'm feeling, theories-wise, again, I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like we're going to get a very self-contained episode next week onside that ship and seeing where it kind of goes about in there. And I think Echo is going to go a little bit crazy. And I think the Jedi and the clones are going to have to handle it. Now, could be completely wrong in that. They could get Echo back to the base, and then it kind of handles out about there. I don't really know where that's going to go, but that's kind of my prediction, because I think next week, of course, is tying up the whole Bad Batch arc and where it's kind of going to go about into future episodes. And, of course, then we get freaking back to Ahsoka, baby. Hell yeah. Again, this is just a little nice show. There's not much to kind of go about in this episode, and, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts as well. So if you guys are new here, again, hit that like and subscribe button, comment down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the Clone Wars. Did you guys enjoy this episode? Did you not? Let's discuss it down below, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching this, and, of course, until next time, stay classy.